And we are live. Welcome everyone to Coaster Time. I'm your host, Carrick Gilgan, and today I will be trying out 3 new segments, as you could probably tell from the thumbnail and also from Instagram if you've seen that. These include Marathon Rider Skip, Random Coaster Tournament, and then I'll also be playing some GeoGuessr Live just to kind of test out how that works and make sure it doesn't crash the stream. So that should be fun to try out. Also, we'll be doing some Q&A and Guess the Coaster as always. So that's going to be the plan for tonight. Pretty impromptu stream, just in terms of getting it scheduled. I was kind of just looking down the barrel of my schedule, and it made sense to try out these segments kind of sooner. So I ended up doing that. That's going to be the plan, and we will start off with some first Q&A and buy or sell. So any questions you have, any buy or sells, let me know, and that'll get us started as the notifications also kind of get out here. So that's going to be the plan for tonight. As I said, any first Q&A or buy or sells, now would be the time to get those in, and we'll also have a segment at the end as always. So that's going to be the plan. But yeah, so Thursday night stream as well, which I've done in the past, but not as often. Usually I've done it like Friday nights, so a little bit of a different change there, so we'll kind of see how that goes. But yeah, that'll be the plan. Alrighty, so any questions, any buy or sells, as I said, those can go in now, and then I can probably go into some other things. I think I mentioned last stream that so basically that the plan was to have my like new concept with a guest that was going to be in the next stream. We have a date set for that. I won't share that as of right now, just in case things change. But look forward to that. That'll be the next stream. This one just kind of got like sort of pushed up basically. So that's pretty much what's going on there. Very excited to try that out, and you'll see what that is in the next few weeks here. So there is that as well. New StreamYard logo is good. Yeah, they changed that, not myself. So it is an interesting look, I will say. But yeah, they did change that a little while ago. So, or not that long ago, but since the last stream. So kind of interesting in terms of how it looks. But I guess, let's see, are there other things that I should mention? Otherwise, as far as scheduling goes, obviously, I think I've mentioned this throughout, like, kind of the past few streams as well, but in terms of like schedule of like streams and doing guest streams, I'm trying to get those organized at least to a certain degree right now. But as far as like what the schedule looks like, it could be inconsistent because I'm trying to get some other like kind of life things sorted out. But I'm hoping to get more of those going this summer, since it's been a while since we have had a guest on a stream here. So that I'm trying to get onto doing as well. Hello, Civilian Satellite. Good to see you here in the chat. You'll only be able to watch for about an hour and a half or half an hour tonight. That's all good. But yeah, pretty much we're just doing first Q&A, buy or sell, before we get into this stream. Different time as well, so I'm not sure if that's potentially affecting the viewership, and also notifications sometimes get out a little slow. But yeah, again, we'll do any questions, any buy or sells. This will be the first time for that. And then the plan is to try out the 3 new segments that I was wanting to test. So that is the plan for tonight, and we will roll from there. So yeah, that is going to be the plan for this stream. Trying to think of like what news has happened recently, besides all the fake April Fool's stuff that happened over the last day or so. Since the last stream. Actually, Waldemir, they got their Vekoma coaster confirmed. So that's a big one. many believe it will be a Vekoma family launch or a Vekoma family coaster of some sort. So that is obviously very fascinating. Thoughts on Codaland's new website? That was one of the actual like real um, announcements that was announced yesterday. I actually haven't had the chance to take a look at it, so I can do that right here on the fly right now. Um, let's see. I mean, it looks modern. Looks kind of clean that way. I kind of have it in a weird like kind of space right now, but I can check it. There we go. That's a little better. Um, okay, here it is. Codaland. Okay, this is the specific theme park one. Um, I mean, yeah, it looks pretty modern. Like I said, looks relatively clean from what I can see. Um, so looks mostly good there. I don't know if there's been any issues or anything. I'm literally just taking my first glance at it right now. So, um, but looks solid as far as I can see. So, um, I do see like the rides don't have their own pages, but that's not necessarily an issue. Um, they have the description right there and everything. So there's that. Um, although I will say, are these all related? Okay, so right now it's like mostly like kind of just one big like kind of long thing. It's not like a bunch of separate tabs for the park right now, so that's kind of interesting um, as well. So they'll probably, I imagine, add some extra stuff as we get closer to opening, but that's cool. The countdown there is nice to see. So yeah. Looks solid based on first impressions, but I literally just looked at it right now. So, um, Seattle Crosslink and South Shore Line, Indiana, Monon Corridor open within the past week, and the DC Streetcar closed as far as transit goes. Best jokes from yesterday. Um, let's see. The best ones. I like the Potts Park one, just the relocating Euromir. Yeah, it didn't like take that much effort, but it was just kind of funny to see and good to turn around that quick and do that because I mean that announcement came pretty quick, so I like that. Um, I not people weren't the biggest fan of it, but like just kind of the concept of like the Busch Gardens, Tampa Busch Gardens, Williamsburg trade. I always like seeing parks collaborating on sort of April Fool's jokes. I think that's cool. Obviously in chain, but that was I think a pretty good one. Um, it, you not I don't know if it's I mean you had what was it over Texas went for kind of like the cop out with the 6-7 flags over Texas, which I mean they did it, and they made the logo with it with the font and everything. So that there was that as well. I feel like there's some other good ones that I am not thinking of off the top of my head, but um, it was kind of a whirlwind because I woke up late and then like all that stuff had dropped and I was catching up. So um, those ones were some pretty good ones. If you have some that you liked, let me know for sure. Um, let's see. What other ones were there? Oh, Great America with the another RMC joke. They've gone through a few of those at this point. This time with Little Dipper. Um, but yeah, that one. Um, let's see what else. Oh, the Dark Universe. I can't forget the Dark Universe one. That was a good one. The Summer Overlay. The Lost Island bumpers. Yeah, no, that was a great one. That one was great. The bumper cars instead of the mobility scooters. No, that was good. That was one of the best ones. Oh, I forgot. Hollywood had the lower lot slide, which just as a concept is hilarious because yeah, I do really wish they had that. So um, the Storm Chaser one was solid from Kentucky Kingdom. There's some pretty good ones. Um, looking through the other ones, yeah, I think those are the big hitters for the most part. Um, so I think that those definitely the Lost Island one that's a great shout out. That was one of the best ones. So I think that and probably Dark Universe, uh, those were definitely two of the better ones that came out of yesterday. Although Universal seemingly always does like a great job with theirs, so um, got to give a shout out to that team. Texas apparently has a lot of German influence, as seen with Schlitterbahn and the former Spassburg area. So there you go. Bavaria is the honorary seventh flag. There you go. Um, you even got the little bit of, I guess, if you wanted to add logic to that, you have that in there. So no, that works. Um, but yeah, so um, if you saw my story, there was one that was really not good, but I will refrain from going into that one. Yeah, there was one that I would say was the worst April Fool's joke in years. Yeah, it was not good. So, but I'll leave that one in the past. So, um, but yeah, no, definitely some good jokes that came out of yesterday. And there were some other ones that were posted later that I didn't end up posting that were interesting as well. I know Six Flags they had two of them. They had like the reverse coasters, which actually a few parks had that, where the coasters, all of them were running in reverse. Oh yeah, yes, right, okay, yes, the Wallaby Roan Alps kangaroo burger. Yes, no, that one was that video was excellent. I forgot about that, but yeah, the it was like a minor one. Like it's usually like kind of a small thing I wouldn't bother touching because there's like a ton of jokes. But that one was so good that I'm like I gotta repost this. This one's like hilarious. So that's a great shout out because I didn't even see really people reposting it. I just like it stumbled upon it on my feed, I think, and I was like, oh yeah, we gotta shout that one out. So not necessarily saying all the ones I reposted were ones I liked. It was mostly just kind of a combination of like what I found and if it was like coaster related, it typically tended to be on there. But um, yeah, the Wallaby Roan Alps burger one, between the edit in the beginning with the kangaroo like hitting the ground, being like perfectly timed with the burger flip, and then the mascot reaction. Nah, that one was brilliant. So that was a sneaky sleeper hit this year, I think. So that was a very good one. Um, so yeah, let's see. As far as actual news goes, I brought up Waldemir, the Vekoma coaster. Um, was something that was confirmed, I think, since the last stream. So that's obviously going to be something to watch. People were genuinely confused if Kentucky Kingdom's announcement for Lightning Run was legit or not. I did see that. That was kind of funny. Um, uh, but yeah, that was just funny to see that people were like, "Is this real? Is this actually happening?" I did definitely see plenty of that. So that definitely was interesting to see. Um, that was one of the few that like actually I felt like kind of actually got people. As far as I saw, at least even enthusiasts amongst the community. So, although I did have a few people ask about different some other ones, like is this actually real? Um, and for me to mention it wasn't. So that was also kind of interesting because I think past few years I don't really think that's happened. So although I think I used a different font for like the April Fool's news in like the previous years, so that was probably more of a tell when I reposted those. So this year I decided not to. So um, let's see what else has occurred. Because yeah, last stream we did was like the impromptu Enchanted Parks stream, so that one was definitely um, different. I would say just as far as like having to get that all up pretty quick, and that was if this was impromptu, that one was really because that was like figured that out in the last few hours. So some stuff has happened, but off the top of my head, it's just hard to get things figured out timing wise. So um, let's see what else has occurred since we last did that. Oh yeah, Lakeside Cyclone. That's like looking like it's. I mean, it was testing, so good to see that that has some life potentially. Along with Rampage at Alabama Adventure, hopefully for real this time actually reopens. Both of those bits of information came out like relatively close to each other, so that was cool to see. Um, really hope that both of those reopen. Obviously, both have had a long road back up to this point. Um, let's see what else. Not really a whole lot else actually. Now looking at it, so um, there's definitely been things. Oh yeah, well yeah, Euromir confirmed the close, but I kind of addressed that with the April Fool's joke. Um, which for those of you who've ridden Euromir, your thoughts on that in the chat. I believe Civilian Satellite, you rode that, so we might have some other people here as well who experienced Euromir, so I'd be curious. Just some thoughts there. I mean, I'm sad about it, even though I'm sure the replacement for it will be a better overall attraction. Just because, I mean, I love when coasters have a really good soundtrack, and to not be able to experience that is kind of tough, to be honest. But I imagine Europa Park, like they've been cooking as of late. I think the replacement will be worthwhile, but that was an unfortunate thing to see. Even though it was kind of like we knew this was eventually going to happen with all the smoke around it and discussion with it. So it is still unfortunate to see. Um, oh yeah, Great Adventure, the new boardwalk area that was officially announced. So you had that. Um, to Ragin' Cajun, along with several other Six Flags America rides, officially being relocated after many months of rumors. Um, and then I think that's mostly. There's been some ride openings as well, um, here and there. So you've had that as well. But I think those aren't like the main stuff. So History and Leisure wrote it. It's cool, but it's mostly a meme coaster in the community at this point. Spiral lift on a spinner is unique, you think? Um, it's at least one of the few that has it. I know that, so I know of another one that has it, but I won't spoil that. Um, but yeah, it is a pretty rare thing to see on a spinning coaster, and that one especially looked awesome. So, or well, still looks awesome because it still exists currently, but obviously that's not going to um, persist for the long haul. So that is kind of unfortunate. Um, but yeah, basically your thoughts. Very fun ride with a party of a spiral lift. Actually, I do remember you did discuss this when we did the we had the last with the stream we did. I forget if it actually made your top 5 spinning coasters when we counted that down, but now I do remember that yeah, you did talk about it. Um, and one of my viewers has it as a ringtone. I remember that, but yeah, the party of a spiral lift looked awesome. Hopefully they keep the maybe not the actual soundtrack itself, but I really hope the new attraction utilizes the soundtrack. So that would be good to see. If you believe it did make the list, that would make sense because I remember you did go into it a decent bit. Now that you bring it up, I do remember that, so that makes sense. Um, so yeah, some interesting stuff there as far as what has happened, the April Fool's jokes. But I think I'll move on to my first segment here, um, which is going to be marathon, ride, or skip. Which basically what this is, I'm testing this here. If you've ever heard of like if you watch like sports content, start, bench, cut, this is kind of like it. There's several other variations of this game as well. Um, but basically the concept of this game, and just kind of to give some background, is that in this scenario I have a time machine slash teleporting device that will provide me a list of 12 coasters where I must choose to marathon 4 of them, ride 4 of them, and then also skip 4 of them. Marathon meaning I have unlimited ride access forever via the teleporting device, ride meaning I can only get one ride, and skipping just meaning like I'm not going to ride it with the teleporter. This is going to be out of a wheel of 750 coasters. You can see how I accumulated all that. And this grouping will also include defunct and dueling coasters. That's where the time machine aspect of this comes in. And actually, I'm going to pull up the actual board before I get into the rules of this, because I think the board might make this make a little more sense. So let's pull that up here. Okay, so this is what the board looks like. As you can see, I will have 4 coasters in these different segments. This is pretty much just kind of, in this case, it's more so just an exercise, but I'd love to hear you in the chat what you would pick amongst these options once we go through the coasters. But that's a little visual for what this is going to look like with the board. Some additional rules here. Again, you could kind of tell from the board what what I mentioned earlier, like what the categories are. This is like a coaster draft where the placement on the board is final once I make a decision. No moving coasters later in the game. And then the coasters that I choose to marathon or ride can be ridden in any seat, any condition they've operated in during the past. So there is that as well. And then if I marathon a coaster, I can choose to ride it in different years or different conditions. If I choose to ride specifically a dueling coaster once, I get to ride each side once, so it's not like you're screwed in terms of only getting one side. And then the coasters that are skipped, I can still ride at some point, just I can't teleport to them with this theoretical device. So I hope that made some sense. Let me know in the chat if that was, you kind of get the gist of it. If not, we'll get that more ironed out as I get going. But that will be the plan. And actually, let me get the wheel up. So actually, I will remove this real quick and then get the wheel up so we can get that going. But the goal here was to kind of introduce this segment in this stream and maybe do it with guests in the future. But I also, because this is something I basically completely created, or not completely, but I created on my own, I don't know how understandable it is. So that's kind of why I was planning to test it here, as with all these segments for tonight. So but yeah, so in chat, let me know if you got the basic gist of it. I have the board. It is absolutely massive and horrifying. Let's see. I also, it's possible, StreamYard's somewhat kind of weird with the chat sometimes, and it'll stop. So let me look and see if anything has come up that I missed. So I will check that real quick. But yeah, so let me know in chat if the segment makes sense, and I will go ahead with it. If not, then also let me know. Then I can kind of explain it again. But I can also, I guess, get it started pretty quick here as well, and that'll probably explain it further once I get going on it. All right, makes sense. Alrighty, sounds good. Then I will start the wheel. We'll shuffle 3 times. You're not going to be able to see what coaster this lands on like as it's rotating, but here we go. Welcome to the chat, Coaster Evan. Good to see you here. And then our first coaster that I will have to decide on is Acrobat at Nagashima Spa Land. I also will pull up RCDB if I need to, because some of these coasters are obscure enough that I will need to do that. Acrobat isn't necessarily one of them, but let's just pull it up here. So this is the Manta clone over at Nagashima Spa Land. I have ridden Manta before, so that kind of goes into this. And oh, also you can't, if you use the teleporter to ride a coaster, you can't like also visit the rest of the park, if that makes sense. That's actually a pretty big rule. I should have listed that. Um, I'm actually, this is tough. I do really like Manta. This is a good coaster. I'll put it in ride once. Um, probably should have this all um, kind of middle like, or actually no, we'll put it back there. But yeah, Acrobat feels exactly the same as Manta. I'll still do one ride because it is a quality ride. Manta is pretty far away from me, and it'd be cool to go out to it, but it is kind of an interesting one because I do want to go to Nagashima Spa Lane at some point. So theoretically, I would eventually ride it without the teleporter, but I don't think I can pass on that very easily because this list is pretty crazy in terms of the variety of tractions we'll get, as you'll probably see. Um, and this is an example. So this is Velociraptor at IMG Worlds of Adventure. This is going to be the Blue Fire clone that exists over at IMG Worlds of Adventure. Here it is if you need a refresher. Interesting one, good quality ride. I've not ridden a Blue Fire clone. It is a clone though, and there is a decent amount of these out there, although not necessarily in the most accessible of spots. But it is a quality ride, so it's kind of tough. I think I'm okay with skipping this, just because I feel like if there's like defunct coasters or something that's more unique, I would be a little more hesitant. Like I would regret missing out on those for this, but it is a pretty good quality ride, so that could be kind of bad. Um, if I was doing this against a guest, I may have picked differently. So I will say that. Charge says marathon. Fair enough. Okay, next one we have Dwarvel Wind at Toverland. So actually all relatively recognizable coasters. This is a pretty good quality mock spinner. Same layout as Twist from Lapao. This is a pretty good one. I believe Civilian Satellite, correct me if I'm wrong. I think this also made your list, or was like an honorable mention. Let's see. So Marathon is like you'd have unlimited ride access forever with this like teleporting device. Ride gets you one ride with a teleporting device, and if you skip it, you can't travel to the coaster with the teleporting device. Is basically the idea. Um, that is tough. This is another difficult one. Another park that like I want to get to, and so that does kind of affect. I think I may have made a mistake with Velociraptor. That's tough. I think I would like this quite a bit though. And I mean, this isn't like I'll do ride. I'll actually do it. Yeah, the Velociraptor thing is looking a little more regrettable now, but is what it is. I only tested this out on my own a few times, so we'll kind of see how this goes. Okay, Racer at Kings Island. I've ridden this. Fine enough ride. I'm going to choose to skip it. Simply because I've already ridden it. It was solid, but like I this is not even a coaster that I'm like dying to re-ride per se. Although I think it has gotten more retracking since I've ridden it, so that's obviously good. But I think that's a pretty easy skip for me. Just considering what else I could potentially get. So that one was actually pretty easy. There. So let's spin again. As mentioned earlier, this wheel's humongous and it's hideous. So, okay. So this is the vintage wooden coaster at Lynn and Maki. Let me pull this up. This is probably a good one to pull up. It's similar to Bakken at, or not Bakken, sorry, Rouge Manon at Bakken. Cool looking historical wooden coaster. I do like myself like some classic wooden coasters. Another park that is definitely out of way to get to, but like, you know, I want to get to it for Taiga at some point. This is probably yeah, I would put this in one ride. I don't know if it's at like the necessarily like the true quality of it. I've only heard like a few reviews of it, but just given it being a rare scenic railway coaster, I think that's actually a fair spot to have it as a one ride. So up to this point, I have put nothing in Marathon, and I don't have a lot of spots open left open in the other places, so this is kind of scary. Okay, so this one I'm gonna pull up. This is a Vekoma Hyperspace Warp. At Oriental Heritage. Let me check the ride lineup here. Okay, so this is the main coaster here. Looking at the list, this actually might be a candidate for Marathon simply because I think this does, like, these rides do look very re-rideable. And it is definitely in a spot that's like, I mean, it's definitely, no, it's not like Abyssus. This is like Formula, but with like a lift hill, basically. Same layout as Formula, but it has a lift hill. So that's basically what this ride is, as you can kind of see there. It does look very re-rideable. Man, this list is not giving me the top quality of coasters I was hoping for. Done Formula, it's a fun ride, packs a lot of punch in a small space. I feel like Formula would probably be a little better just because it has the launch, but yeah, I think I gotta go Marathon. So, just because the quality of rides we've gotten up to this point, it's not been that great. And again, looks very re-rideable. And definitely, probably a coaster I would not get out to be honest. So, oh wow, okay. I have no words as far as the luck of this, and the percentage chance of this happening is absolutely absurd. Okay, so we just talked about so we literally get the launched version of it. I mean, I'm not gonna have two of these in Marathon, so this is gonna be a one ride. If that, to be honest. That is actually crazy. This would be better than Stag's Gauntlet, but like, yeah, like I'm not putting them both in merit. That's just like that's I think bad process. So I'm almost tempted to put it in skip, but I'll put it in one ride. I respect it enough. So, and hey, if I'm in a pinch whenever I go to Energylandia and I'm willing to skip it, that's one less coaster I have to worry about, or at least one less coaster that I need to get like a bunch of re-rides on. So, does work out that way. I need to change the banner. Let's do that. There we go. Okay, but back to the wheel. Spitfire at Six Flags Qiddiya. Kind of a weird one to have in Marathon, but like I kind of have to have it at this point. Hard to get to, that's for sure. Um, so yeah, I think I'm just gonna put it in marathon and not really think about it. I don't think I need to put this one up on RCDB because I think you kind of already know what this is. So I'm out of one ride, so that's the problem. I can't. I probably would have put it there, but like I would rather ride this than not. um, so even though it is very gimmicky, so um, but I think it does look like a pretty good ride, so I'm okay with that. Um, but yeah, this is kind of the way this has went is kind of interesting. Would kind of suck to get unlimited rides on Spitfire and not being able to. Hey, to be fair, it could still happen. Don't sleep. We could still get Falcon's flight. It's not over yet. Probably not though. But that would be wild. Um, okay. Yagiyama Cyclone at Bennyland. So this is pretty similar to Excalibur at Valley Fair. Let me pull it up. Yeah, I've heard this has one like insane airtime moment. Um, and I've heard generally this is a pretty fun ride. It's a very unfortunate spot where I am at though, because this is a very much a very good candidate for a one ride, but all my spots are gone. So that kind of sucks. Ambassador, welcome to the chat. Hello. We're doing Marathon Rider Skip. This is a new segment. Basically, I get random coasters on the fly and decide if I basically in this scenario I have a hypothetical teleporter or time machine, and I'm either having unlimited ride access to these rides. I get one ride on it, or I don't ride the coaster at all. So that's the basic explanation I can give there. Um, you happen to have the biggest Yagiyama Cyclone stand in the chat. Okay. Um, that is tough. Oh gosh. The first drop in the back row is absolutely bonkers, but I totally understand. It's really tough to have. This is exactly why I probably should have pivoted with Formula and put it into Skip looking back. Because like Energylandia is like, a top 10 bucket list park for me. So like, I expect that it will get there at some point. Meanwhile, like Bennyland, it's like probably never gonna get to. Um, so that's tough. It really is. I think man. Um, well, I mean, to be fair, my marathoning, you just have unlimited ride access forever, so you can ride this whenever you want. You only can, if you want, you can like just go in and get one ride, but you can do it whenever. So that's basically what it means. The name is admittedly a little confusing there. Um, gosh, I feel like I could get a really bad list though. I'm gonna have to put this in Skip, and that really sucks. That is very much like if I had a spot open, that is a definition of one ride. But can't do it. There's just too much to risk. A Velociraptor on Marathon, I don't know about that. We'll see. Okay, thank God. Okay. Flash at Lou Adventure. I will pull this up. This is the Mach Hyper Coaster that, when it opened, took the tallest inversion in the world record. This is definitely going in the marathon, but just to... Do they have a picture of Loop? Come on, there's got to be somewhere. Okay. Here we go. There's that Loop. But anyways, yeah, this is an easy marathon pick. I mean, easiest one so far. This layout looks incredible. Another ride that looks pretty re-rideable. So pretty easy marathon coaster, and it's also in a location that's like I'm probably not gonna get to it. So very easy pick. Thanks for checking out the stream, Civilian Satellite. And I will see you later. But thanks for checking out the stream. But yeah, that's an easy marathon pick. So no question about that. For sure. So oh yeah, also for those who came in, if I get a coaster ride marathon, you can't ride the other coasters in the park. So kind of want to mention that because um, that would be overpowered if I could. Okay, Hair Raiser at Ocean Park is a really weird one. Awesome location. Kind of looks like a subpar B&M. And let me pull it up again. Kind of looks like a subpar B&M Floorless. Outside of that, gonna be real. Location is awesome though. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's pretty sick. Like it looks fun. Don't get me wrong, but like, I mean, I think I'm okay with skipping this one. Like, kind of giving myself a chance of giving myself something better for the marathon spot. So, and I agree with Charge. This is gonna be a skip. All right, so this last coaster is going to be my last marathon. This is the last one I have unlimited ride access forever. Hopefully it's something good. If it's not, I'm gonna be very sad. Let's see what this is. Oh boy. Okay, so El Loco at Adventure Dome. I enjoy it. I definitely would not have put this in marathon. Um, just because I don't think it's that quality of ride. I've already ridden it. To be honest, if I was able to put this anywhere, I would have put it in skip. For me personally, but it does have a unique layout for an SNS El Loco, so there is that. I'll pull it up here as well in case we have anyone who's not familiar with this ride. Here it is. The first drop is absolutely excellent. So I will say that it has two awesome hang time moments and definitely some other quirky elements as well. But I didn't love the tracking and the restraints of this ride, so which is kind of weird that just the way the lap bar it divots wasn't particularly comfortable in one of my rides. So that's a little unfortunate, but that's going to be our list. Looks like most of you who watched this kind of understood the segment. Obviously, those who came in later, I had an explanation earlier of how this goes, but that is good to see. Let me know in chat what you think of it, what you think of my grouping of coasters. I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of trash. As far as I think I definitely could have done better on this. But you know, it's basically kind of like the blind ranking mixed with like a coaster draft. You just kind of have to do the best with what's given to you. So again, let me know in the chat what you thought of this segment, what you thought of this grouping of coasters. You would have put Racer at Kings Island and Marathon. Okay, fair enough. My justification for not doing that is I've already ridden it. It's solid, but I don't think it was. I don't think it's really anything that spectacular. So like by default, it wasn't gonna go in one ride because it's like, okay, I've already ridden it. It's not something I enjoy enough that I would put in marathon, so it kind of went skip for that reason. So Velociraptor should have been marathon is your immediate thought. That's fair. I think looking back on this list, if I could have done it in the exact order I like would have liked, I probably would have done Flashes in marathon. That's like the easy one. I think Acrobat I would also honestly throw in there too, just because with the quality of coasters we got. I mean, I like Manta quite a bit, so to basically have access to that forever, I think would be awesome. I think, yeah, Velociraptor, very rewritable. And then outside of that, I mean, I think probably Formula Energylandia is probably the other one I throw in there in marathon. And then like we put Spitfire, Stag's Gauntlet in one ride. I think the other ones are actually fine. Although let's see. Although the weird thing is the fact that I got both Formula and Stag's Gauntlet because they're like the same except one has a launch. So that like kind of makes this whole thing really weird. Um, because I also would want to fit in Yagiyama Cyclone somehow. I think I would probably remove Dwarvelwind and put Yagiyama Cyclone there. I think that's probably how I would handle it. And then honestly, I'd probably do Hair Razor above the Linen Maki Wooden Coaster. So I think it's something like that would end up being what I would have. El Loco would go all the way down to Skip. Same with Racer. And then I think I put Linen Maki's Wooden Coaster and then Dwarvelwind in there too. So Stag's Gauntlet has a better name. Yeah, but I mean, that's not really determining the rankings here for me at least, but it is a good note. Yeah. Okay, yeah, but like, but I would want to ride Hair Razor, right? Because as of right now, I mean, I've heard Ocean Park is actually pretty solid, but like as far as ride collection, like what else do they really have? So I'm also kind of looking at it from the standpoint of going to places I might not go otherwise. Um, so that's kind of what I'm factoring in as well. But that's a completely fair point. I don't think it looks that great either. So I completely can understand that. But that'll wrap up this segment. We'll go to some Guess the Coaster. Thinking we'll do we'll do 6 rounds. And then we'll go from there. So let me get the coaster. I do not quite have it up yet. So I will get that ready. And then, still taking a little bit. Okay, I do have my first coaster. Guess away in the chat. We are doing Guess the Coaster. Oh yeah, right. I should probably put up the graphic as a reminder in case I need to. Guess the coaster, here are the rules. Pretty much I come up with a coaster that I got from RCDB that's recognizable, and you try to use clues to guess it. Unlimited attempts to answer and try to guess, and unlimited hints. Don't use the internet, like all that stuff. And then winners decided by who guesses the most. So, and then in a tiebreaker, the one who gets it most recently will win. So, quick recap on the rules there. Let's see. It is, yeah, there you go for anybody who is in that example of the chat. So, shout out Charge there. But it is not Pantherian at King's Dominion, so it is not that. As far as what it is, love the shot in the dark guesses though for sure. But as I said, I do have my coaster, so guess away in the chat your questions and potential hints. This coaster is indeed at a chain park, so yes, it is. So far we have a coaster that's at a chain park, which really does not narrow any down a whole lot, but there we go. Have I ridden this coaster? I have not, but it is in North America. So we have a North American chain park coaster. Let's see. Welcome to the chat, Rolly. It is not at a Six Flags park, and this park has not ever been a Six Flags park because I feel like I have to mention that at this point with all the movement there's been. Are there 6, 7 flags above the park? Not quite. Shout out 6, 7 flags over Texas from yesterday. Does it roll and coast? Yes, I would say it does. It is a Hirschend coaster. So we do have a Hirschend coaster. All their parks are in North America, so not really much point in bringing that up. You rode the Silver Line yesterday. Very nice. Does the park currently host animals? To my knowledge, they do not. I could be wrong, though. I'm going to say they don't, to my knowledge. This coaster did not open after 2007, so it is older than that. It is not Lightning Rod. It is not Stunt Pilot. So far we have coaster at a Hershey Park and opened before 2007. And to my knowledge, the park it's at does not have animals. So, oh, and I have not ridden this, so that probably rules out some options there. You see, this coaster doesn't exactly have a listed manufacturer, so I can't really answer that. I mean, I guess technically yes, because of the listed builder is not around anymore, but it's not Stunt Pilot. It is a wooden coaster, so we do have a wooden coaster at a Hershey Park. It's not Thunderhead, not Tremors, not Phantom's Revenge, not Timber Terror, not Racer, not Jackrabbit. It is under 100 feet tall, actually, so that's a good potential hint there. It is not Rollo Coaster at Idlewild. Thunderbolt is the correct answer at Kennywood, so Charged is on the board with a point, and we will move on to our next round. So let me get the next coaster up here. And okay, I do have my next coaster. Guess away. That was a good pull there. Yeah, Rorosaurus. That is a flex, like a credit to have. At least from my standpoint, just it being on the complete opposite side of the country at a small New England park. So, this coaster is not located in the U.S., so we are outside of the U.S. for this round. Saw that was the first question that has arrived. It is not defunct. It's still operating. This ride still exists. It is not in Asia, so it is outside of Asia and it is outside of the U.S. And it's still operating. So that's all you got for this coaster so far. I'll pull this down a little bit. Let's see. It is not at a Six Flags park. It is not in Canada either. So, neither of those. It is not Bisbee's Spiral Airship. So, it is not in the Americas at all. So, not in North or South America. It is not Superman El Ultimo Escape. So, it is not in the Americas, not in Asia, still operating. It is in Europe. So we have a European coaster that's still operating. That doesn't really narrow it down a whole lot, but at least it's something. It is not in the UK. It is not wooden. So we do have a steel coaster in Europe that is still operating. It is not in Eastern Europe. This is a Western Europe coaster. It is not in France. So we still don't have the country yet. Oh, well, now we do. It is in Germany. So we do have a coaster, a steel coaster in Germany that still operates. So that is where we are at this point. Let's see, anything else that has arrived yet? It is not Carnan at Hansa Park. However, it is at Europa Park, but it is under 100 feet tall. So we do have a steel coaster at Europa Park that's still operating, and it is under 100 feet tall. It is not Expedition G-Force. I think that arrived before I explained all that. It's not Woden. It's steel coaster. It is not Voltron. It is not Ba Express. It is not Blue Fire. It's not Euromir. It's not Alpen Express Enzian. It's not Eurosat. It is not Euromir. Rest in peace, as mentioned earlier this year. Once it closes. None of those. It's not Ba Express. So, again, Steel Coaster at Europa Park, under 100 feet tall, has not been guessed yet. Oh, I think it may have now. Okay. Yes. Charged got it. It is Arthur. So, Charged is on the board with a second point. So in a good spot here as we head into the halfway point in round 3. And okay, we do have our coaster. You can start guessing away. I'm going to turn the fan on because it has warmed up in here pretty quick. So let me do that real quick. But you can put in your questions and I'll get right to those in a second. I'll be right back. All right, we back. This coaster is not in Europe, so we are outside of Europe. This coaster is not in Asia. It is at a chain park, so we do have a coaster at a chain park. And again, outside of Europe and Asia. It is under 100 feet tall, so chain park coaster under 100 feet tall. And it is in America, specifically the U.S. So we do have a U.S. chain park coaster that is under 100 feet tall. It is not wooden, so that makes it steel. So we do have a steel coaster under 100 feet tall at a U.S. chain park. Not at a Six Flags park. This park has never been operated or owned by Six Flags. It is not at a Legoland park, or a Merlin park for that matter, if we want to get that covered. It is not from Vekoma. It is not at a Herschend park either. So, and it is a chain park, but this isn't like the most well-known or largest chain. I'll say that. This coaster does indeed have inversions. So, again, under 100 feet tall, it has inversions and is at a U.S. chain park. It is not Fun Spot. It is at Indiana Beach. So there you go. That's probably a big one. This coaster is indeed at Indiana Beach. Has inversions, under 100 feet tall. So you have that. Probably should be pretty quick here. Although I guess there's potentially a few options, but it is not Triple Loop or All American Triple Loop. No, but it is Steel Hog. Charged is on the board with 3 points. Pretty much at this point, you're charged. It's pretty much your game to lose at this point with the 3 points. Just because with a tiebreaker, if someone gets 3 in a row, that's the only way to win at this point. So, congrats there. I do have my next coaster. So, guess away, and that will be round 4 at this point. So, we are at round 4 of 6. Guess away for this one. Let's see, so not seeing anything yet in the chat. As I said, I do have this coaster already, so guess away when you have your questions ready. Okay. It is not in Asia. It is not at a Six Flags park. Let me check and make sure this was not under Six Flags ownership at any point. It would not have been recently, but I just want to kind of check real quick. See if it was at any point. Oh man, okay. The Wikipedia is not giving me what I want because it doesn't list the other former locations of like what it used to be, so that's kind of weird. But it's not in Asia and it's not in Europe. So we have that at least. Looks like it was not. Looks like it was not ever under Six Flags ownership. Wanted to make sure of that, but it looks like it never was. So it is not Elitch Gardens. That would have been under Six Flags ownership at a point. It is in America, as in the U.S., so we do have a U.S. coaster. Not really a whole lot to go off of there, to be honest. But at least a lot of ways it can be narrowed down still. So it is not on the West Coast, as in like, touching the water. We need to pull up a U.S. map for this, though, for the other question that oftentimes comes up, because I think this one is kind of borderline. Okay, let me... Okay, why is the map that I usually use not coming up? Okay, let me... okay, there we go. It is west of the Mississippi River. So, this coaster is west of the Mississippi River. So I will... it took me a little bit, but I do have that now, so... that is that. So we have a U.S. coaster that's west of the Mississippi, but it's not specifically on the West Coast, so getting closer potentially. It is not from B&M. It is not from Intamin. So neither of those. It is not at Adventureland. It is not from Mock Rides. So, it is not in Iowa. It is not from an American manufacturer. It is not Defiance at Glenwood Springs. Good guess, though, actually. Just because it's kind of random. But that's a good shout, just because that does align with some of the other ones, with the clues, I suppose. This coaster does not have a launch. It is not in Missouri. So still no state identified. No manufacturer has been identified either. However, it is not an American manufacturer, so that's notable. And it's west of the Mississippi, but it is not on the West Coast. It is not at Lagoon. It is not Cannibal. So, still a little bit of searching right now as far as what this could be. To be fair, I don't think this is particularly an easy one. So, it does have inversions, yes. So, this coaster does indeed go upside down. So, just to roll through. Yeah, U.S. coaster with inversions. or well, that's on the west side, west of the Mississippi, but not on the west coast. No, it is not from an American manufacturer. It is not. So, just to clarify that. No, I would not really say this is a terrain coaster. Yeah, no, it's not. Like, not a terrain coaster, not in Minnesota. Good question, though. It is a Vekoma, so we do have a Vekoma coaster with inversions. Again, west side of the U.S., or west of the Mississippi River. So you have that, not on the west coast, though. So there we go. This one, I guess now thinking about it, I'm not too surprised it's taking a little bit. It is indeed an SLC, so we do have a Vekoma SLC, so that probably will help a decent bit. It is not Circuit Breaker at Kodoland. So we have a Vekoma SLC that is west of the Mississippi, not on the west coast. So that is what we have at this point. And we've already crossed off Minnesota, Missouri, Iowa as potential states. So those are all not any of them. However, Charge got it. It is Gauntlet at Magic Springs. Arkansas is like right on the borderline of being west of the Mississippi, so that's why I had to check that one. That is correct. So Charge now has 4 points, and will already be the winner there. But we'll do the next 2 rounds. I do have my next 2 coasters, so guess away. I guess Charge is potentially playing for the sweep. But I do have my next coaster, so guessed away. Stop the count, he's already won. Yeah. But I do have my next one, so guess away. Yeah, trying to think if it's not Mind Eraser. Yeah, Gauntlet is not really a coaster that hardly anyone thinks of, to be honest. Even as far as SLCs go, it's just kind of, it exists, I guess. So, that is completely fair. It is at a park that has in the name, yes, it is at a Six Flags park. A current one at that. So we do have a coaster at a Six Flags park. Current one, so that is already a solid hint there. Still a decent amount of coasters to choose from, but there is that. So, and this is round 5 of 6, by the way. Let's see, so any other guesses in the chat? Any other? It is over 100 feet tall, so we do have that. Over 100 feet tall. So at a Six Flags park, and is over 100 feet tall. Not a U.S. manufacturer, and not a German manufacturer either. Not in Texas. So it is over 100 feet tall. Is at a Six Flags park, not in Texas, and not from either a U.S. or German-based manufacturer. However, actually, on the topic of U.S., this manufacturer does get a lot of track fabricated in the U.S., so I will say that. But they're not based in the U.S., so not Vekoma, not a Boomerang or SLC. It's not from Intamin either. So none of those. B&M, yep, there you go. So we do have a B&M coaster. That's at a Six Flags park that is not in Texas. Pretty sure all the Six Flags, actually, No, there's probably a few. I know there are a few B&Ms in the Six Flags chain that are under 100 feet. So it is over 100 feet tall. Um, the park does have Six Flags in the name. So yes, it is a floorless coaster, not a dive. So we do have a B&M floorless at a Six Flags park. It is west of the Mississippi. Yep, shout out Switzerland for B&M. So west of the Mississippi, B&M floorless at a Six Flags park that does indeed have Six Flags in the name. It is not Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Not Medusa East either. So it is west of the Mississippi, if I said that wrong. It is not Patriot at California's Great America either. So I don't think that leaves you with a whole lot of options left. And Charge got it on my screen first. It is indeed Scream at Six Flags Magic Mountain. So going for the clean sweep. I do have my next coaster. Wow, they're coming fast. So this will be the last round for Guess the Coaster, and then we will move on to our second new segment. So that will be where we are headed. But guess away again. And I think, honestly, outside of Gauntlet, these have been, I would say, relatively easy coasters. Gauntlet is just kind of weird because, like, the geography and everything is like, not helpful for it. And it's a forgotten coaster, it feels like, amongst the SLCs. The sea of SLCs, that is. This coaster is not overseas from the US. So it is not overseas. It is a steel coaster because it's not overseas. It's not in Asia. So far we have a steel coaster that is not overseas from North America. So let's see what else. What? the number of ways you're using to describe Six Flags is hilarious, but yes, it is at a Six Flags park. So it is indeed. It is not in the South though, so that's pretty notable actually. So at a current Six Flags park, not in the South though. So that rules out some options for sure. And it is steel, as mentioned earlier. Still a lot of options it could be, but narrowing it down at least a little bit. Oh boy, let's pull up the map again. It is east of the Mississippi. This is a Six Flags coaster that's east of the Mississippi, not in the South, however. And it does have Six Flags in the name. So, yep. So it is at a Six Flags, like, branded park east of the Mississippi. That's not in the South. It is not Nitro. Good guess, though. And, oh yeah, again, steel. It is not from an American manufacturer. Again, American fabricated, or a lot of times uses American fabricated track, though. It is not over 200 feet tall, so no, it is under 200 feet. It is not Raging Bull. I don't think I got to that one yet, but it is not. It is a B&M coaster indeed. So we have a B&M coaster at a Six Flags branded park east of the Mississippi, under 200 feet tall, not in the South. So it does indeed feature inversions. So this coaster does indeed have inversions. It doesn't have over 5 inversions, but it actually has exactly 5 inversions. So I will give that. So B&M coaster has exactly 5 inversions. And it is under 200 feet tall. It is not Superman Ultimate Flight at Six Flags Great America. It is not a Batman of any sort. Good ones to rule out, though. So again, has exactly 5 inversions from B&M, under 200 feet tall, east of the Mississippi, not in the south, at a Six Flags branded park. It is not Georgia Scorcher, so it is not that one. Let's see. I'll admit this one is taking a little bit. It is taking a little bit longer than I had expected, but actually, kind of given the clues, I could kind of see it. So it is not Green Lantern at Six Flags Great Adventure. So again, to run through it, B&M 5 inversions, under 200 feet tall, at a Six Flags branded park that is east of the Mississippi and not in the south. A lot of stuff to keep track of, but there you have it. Let's see. So, and we've already ruled out Green Lantern, Georgia Scorcher, Batman the Ride, because I believe all of those would fit. Well, actually, Georgia Scorcher is in the south, but stats-wise, that would fit. Superman Ultimate Flight as well has, any of those have been ruled out too. So, I think the chat is kind of stumped. Not Batman the Ride at Six Flags New England, no. So, it's not Batman themed or has Batman in the name. So, yeah, I think chat is a little stumped here. Which I can kind of see it. I can kind of see it actually. I think the clues haven't exactly been great for this specific one, so I can definitely see why this happened. So, but we'll see who will end up getting this one. But let's see. So, all right, Charge got it. Wrath of Rakshasa, which is a clean sweep. Wrath of Rakshasa at Six Flags Great America is the correct answer. It is 180 feet tall, has 5 inversions. Probably not a ride you think of having 5 inversions, so that's kind of, and it's like pretty close to 200 feet, so I think most people you would kind of think of like the floorless or invert first, so I'm like, okay, that, yeah, it's actually 180 feet. That's why I was kind of saying, I'm like, the clues actually kind of weren't great. As far as I feel like they very much could like throw everyone off, because I think, yeah, you're looking for like the stand-ups, like the inverts, the floorless coasters, and it wasn't any of those. So also, yeah, like, oh, and also Illinois is like borderline of being east of the Mississippi, so that probably didn't help either, because yeah, you would be thinking of the East Coast parks. But Wrath of Rakshasa has is the correct answer there. So we will crown Charged as the winner here with a clean sweep. So congratulations there. I don't know if that's happened previously, so that is certainly very impressive. So congratulations, and we will move on to our next segment, which I will need to get some stuff set up here. But this is the Random Coaster Tournament. So I will pull up the rules here as for how this works. Let's get it. There we go. There's not a whole lot to explain here, so I'll just put this up. Basically, I will get 16 random coasters from RCDB and put them in a matchup bracket, and you will vote on which coaster is the best. I'm going to need to pull up the, what's it called? Whoa, okay, that did not, there we go. I will need to pull up a few things here, so give me a second. And then I will also get the chat. So basically, the idea with this is I have done a few different segments in the past that I kind of inspired this. I've done some RCDB surfing on the stream, so this is kind of a more interesting way to get back into doing that. But additionally, many years ago, I did a segment called "What Out of 10," where I showed like 5 coasters, like the POVs from like that were non-copyright, basically, and had a vote that way. This is not going to be that, but it was kind of inspired by those, so kind of a throwback. I will pull up the thing here though. So let's see. Let me get this up. So here is the bracket. 16 coasters are going to be here, and I will show the coasters here on RCDB. And there's actually a way I can split tabs, so that way you're not having to remember these. So it's going to be completely random in that way. And the quote, like the winner will be decided by YouTube poll. So let's see. I'm going to get the YouTube poll thing open so that way I actually have access into doing this. Again, testing out all these segments. So as far as the technical aspect, might be a little slow. But let me get the chat here. Okay, there we go. I have it set up so I can get it ready once I have it. Okay, so pretty much I'm going to just roll through this one by one, get a random coaster on RCDB. I will plug each of them in to the bracket once I get them each. For today, I'm actually going to like kind of go through the pictures of each of these coasters as well. Just so we get a better idea, because these are going to be completely random. So hopefully you kind of get the gist of this. It'll become a lot more clear once we actually get to the polling. But anyways, so first coaster we have here is this thing. We got a jungle flying squirrel with some cursed trans. So just kind of looking at it, this is ride we have to deal with here for this first slot. So I will get that plugged in here for the first one. Let's see. And this one's not one of those ones that's going to play nice. So, okay. So I'll get that one plugged in, but basically, yeah, we'll kind of vote on these at the end, but I'll like kind of show them as I go through. So that's going to be the plan there. So that's going to be the first coaster. It's going to be going up against actually another Wild Mouse at Cedar Point. So that's kind of funny that we have 2 wild mice facing each other. So I will get that one plugged in. Old reliable random coaster in China, exactly. So as for Wild Mouse, we'll go through a few pictures of it here. Obviously added to Cedar Point a few years ago. I have not ridden this because it opened after I went on my last visit, but looks solid. Has like that, I think it was the first one to have the layout of its kind. It has the epic cheese car, as you can see here, so you got that. Wild Mouse wins. We'll get to the voting in a second. Next, we got Rail Runner, Anarchista. This is a alpine coaster that I've heard is quite good. So let's plug that in. And I will just go through a few pictures of it here. So here it is. Some of them, the pictures aren't going to be great, so that's kind of the difficult part of this. You stood in a long line to ride Wild Mouse once. You did not get the cheese car. I believe it's also the accessibility vehicle, so I think it's potentially a little trickier to get that vehicle for that reason, and understandably so. But there it is. But here is Rail Runner here. Yeah, I have been right by this place, but I didn't ride it, so is what it is. Heard this is one of the better ones in the area, though, so that's cool. Let's get the next one. We're actually getting recognizable coasters. Okay, Shredder at Nickelodeon Universe in New Jersey. So let's get that. This is a massive spinner, by the way. So, as far as like the Gerstlauers. So, we'll just show this one here a little bit, just to get familiar with it. Not honestly was, for how large it is, not really too impressed with it layout wise from the POVs I've seen, not gonna lie. But I mean, it is a unique layout at least, so there is that. So we will have that in. We got Gold Rush at London Castle. Okay, I will get that plugged in here. Also, I'm kind of experimenting with this. I might have these already set up beforehand, but I think it's kind of fun to do this on the fly. But yeah, so, okay, so this is a 0-4-man Bob, pretty rare. So that's kind of an interesting one. And it goes near this moon thing, or did, because this thing is no longer around. So, that's this one. It will be going up against something called Sega Lightning Knight, which is a coaster that has an interactive shooting system, but doesn't have a listed manufacturer. So that is really weird. I don't know how the heck you're gonna grade, like, really bizarre. I actually have never watched a POV of this, and this is kind of a hard one to gauge. Funny how similar this looks to Tokyo Joypolis, which I went to earlier this year. Just the look of the park, but that is a really weird one. It is, oh wait, no, it doesn't have a manufacturer. It is from Jinma. Okay, so there is that. Okay, so we'll plug that in. And then, okay, there's that one. Jumbo Jet at Maurice Pierce, so another Schwarzkopf coaster. Okay. Former coaster from Maurice Pierce. Rest in peace to Sega Lightning Knight, closed in 2023. Yeah, rest in peace there. We'll definitely get some defunct coasters with this, so that's kind of like the cool part of this. There might be an obvious coaster we get that's like the runaway winner of this whole thing, but I think the process is going to be kind of fun to vote on these and just kind of getting these right now. So, Corkscrew at Cedar Point. We got 2 Cedar Point coasters. That is crazy. Unfortunately, the quality of both of them is not great, but we did get at least 2 coasters from Cedar Point, so that is kind of wild. I will say, I think this is actually okay. Not amazing, but I do like the Airtime Hill. I think it's pretty good. I think the corkscrews are solid. The valleys of both the Airtime Hill and the Vertical Loop are extremely painful, though, so I kind of get it from that standpoint why people don't like it, but I don't know. I think it's solid. So, Corkscrew at Cedar Point will be the next one I plug in here. So, we have that. Okay, so let's get the next one. And also in chat, if you've ridden these or have an interest in these or know something about them, let me know. We got Battlestar Galactica, Universal Studios Singapore. So doing coasters just kind of get both sides, I guess. So that's kind of almost an unfair advantage. Cylon looks like an awesome invert. Human looks really boring, to be honest, but it at least has some cool interactions. So there is that. I guess you're probably mostly going off the invert side, to be honest, if you just want to go off one of them, because the human side isn't really anything that special. So that's kind of an interesting one to kind of throw in here. Very cool looking coaster regardless. Let's see. Roller coaster at Great Yarmouth Pleasure Beach. Okay. Old Scenic Railway, and I think this is actually going up against Battlestar Galactica. So, yeah, I might have these prepped beforehand. Now, kind of going through the process of doing this, but is what it is. So that's roller coaster. Just go through a few pictures. Here it is. Very ancient. Very vintage. I don't actually know a ton of how this rides. I think it's just kind of like solid, nothing too crazy. So interesting coaster to get regardless. But yeah, in a world of scenic railways that we're slowly seeing kind of die a little bit. Corkscrew is old, but the corkscrews were actually enjoyable. Just think the arrow loops are usually small, which might not help their case. Yeah, that's fair. I would agree with that take, so that's good. Megaphobia at Oakwood Park. Okay. For a random, like, coasters, I'm getting a lot of them that it's like, oh, I actually know these. Um, yeah, this looked like an awesome CCI wooden coaster. Most likely rest in peace because I doubt this thing gets saved. That's a pretty good pull for the tournament. Um, so just to look at it, here it is. Kind of Rampage-esque. So it has some similarities there. But obviously, once revered CCI wooden coaster. That actually got some track work done before it before the park died. So that's kind of unfortunate that it is not going to survive in all likelihood. So another Cedar Point coaster. Okay, we're not getting any of the good ones, but it is. I mean, it is what it is at this point. Cedar Creek Mine Ride. This is one of the worst coasters I've personally ridden. So like. And it going against Megaphobia at Oakwood is kind of hilarious. um, so, in case, I'll just honestly go through like a few pictures. It has a nice setting. It's really boring and it tracked horribly when I went. Like genuinely, this is like a bottom 10 coaster I've ever ridden. So, apparently it was running really bad the time I went to because other people who rode it around when I rode it hated it. Next we got Fun Pilot at Wallaby, Belgium. Looks like a newer Zero Force. So, junior coaster. Only bottom tier Cedar Point coasters. It's insane that we've gotten 3 of them. But yeah, and they've all been like, like the lowest of the low in terms of them. At least consensus wise. Replace it with a modern Vekoma one exactly. But let's go back to Fun Pilot, see what that's got going for it. I haven't ridden any of the newer Zero Force coasters. I hope they're like at least a little better than the old ones. Not the old ones aren't bad. They're just kind of whatever. So not really a whole lot to this one, to be honest. Station's kind of cool, but not really a whole lot of scenery. So it's kind of what it is. Okay, we got Spinning Coaster in Kuwait. I'm not gonna lie, I've never heard of this, and this is a Gerstlauer spinner, so that's kind of fascinating. It's custom, so I will have to look into that one. Kind of rare, honestly. I feel like that I would get something that's like, I feel like I should have at least heard of this, and I never have. Let's see, stats. It's pretty tiny, like 836 feet long. Yeah, this is pretty small. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. This could have some crazy spinning, I feel like. That's the one unfortunate part of like kind of voting for these on the fly. I want to check out a POV of this. This might actually be pretty good. Although layout doesn't really look. Although there's a nice looking drop there. So okay, yeah. It's got some sections where it goes in some tunnels. Okay, interesting. I'm intrigued. And then the last 2 coasters, we got Power Splash, which is a mock Power Splash at Happy Valley, Shenzhen. Okay. Oh, wait, I have to do it this way because it's going to copy the other name. Okay, so we'll do that. You love Griffin. Oh, yeah, because we brought up Valraven. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then our last coaster we have for this is Requin Express at Cedar Park in France. This is looks very similar to a Shark Trip. I guess it's not quite, but yeah, okay. I think we kind of get the gist from looking at this. So, okay. Oh, and then the Power Splash. I didn't take a closer look at that. So let's see if that has like any cool theming or anything like that. Not really. Just kind of a basic power splash, but that's fine. Okay, so now with all of that said, I will do the split tab, and that'll kind of lead into the thing, and it'll lead to, okay, so I thought it was going to have it a little more easy here, so there we go. Okay, so can everyone see the split tab? This is kind of how we're doing it. As far as the voting goes. So I will put up a poll. So, so we'll do jungle flying squirrel versus wild mouse. All right, chat. What do we think here? So, poll is live. I think I will actually vote on this myself because I'm the host. I can have input on this. Although apparently not on my own stream. Is it really not giving me powers to do it? Okay, I need to go on a separate account here and be able to vote. That's kind of lame, actually, that I have to do that. Chat so far is saying wild mouse, though, which is not particularly surprising. So, let's see. But yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the case. So, let's see. There we go. Okay, now I can vote. Okay, yeah, wild mouse is moving on. Let's just get that done. So, yeah, okay, that one's pretty clear. I agree. There's a chance the jungle flying squirrel could be fun. It might also genuinely be terrible though. So that's a completely fair pick. So let's get those marked. Okay, so I'll end that one. I also might shrink down this if I do this again in the future. That might make it a little quicker, but again, trying out new segments here. Jungle flying squirrel looks abandoned and haunted. not a horrible take. Like let's be real. So, yeah, I don't entirely disagree there. So, that's weird. I don't know why I did that. Okay. So next we got Rail Runner versus, let's see here. Is it Shredder is what it was supposed to go up against? Yeah, okay. So there we go. So Rail Runner versus Shredder. The mouse has seen some stuff, clearly. So let's see. Rail Runner and then Shredder. This one's kind of interesting. I've never ridden a mountain coaster, so it's pretty hard to evaluate it from that standpoint. That being said, Shredder looks pretty disappointing, so I will personally roll with Rail Runner, but I could see this going either way. Okay, it looks like votes are coming in pretty quick, so that actually makes this deciding it pretty easy. It looks like Rail Runner has won here, so we'll go with that. Pretty decisive. Can definitely understand that, so good pick there. Definitely looks more intriguing, so I will also mark that as well. Okay, so we'll end the poll there. And then we will stop that. Okay, so next we got Gold Rush versus, what's the other coaster? Oh, Sega Lightning Night. Okay, really whack comparison. All right, there we go. So this is the next vote. Let me get it up. Gold Rush, then All right, so here's the next one. I kind of actually this is tough. I didn't really think about it because let's just kind of look at it. Um, I mean, we don't. The problem is we don't really know a lot about Sega Lightning Knight, so that kind of sucks. Wasn't exactly a ton you could get from the pictures. Whereas Four Man Bob, let's just kind of look at the other ones that have existed. I think I gotta go. I think I'll go with Gold Rush, just for the vintage, but it's not easy to be honest. I like Sega Lightning Knight looks really weird, so I would be totally game if that wins. Um, but yeah, that is a weird choice. You're more intrigued by Sega Lightning Knight. Okay, we're at 50-50 right now. Um, we need something to break the vote somehow. If someone hasn't voted yet, make sure to. If not, I didn't think about what would happen in a tiebreaker. Well, I guess since I voted for Gold Rush, I can take my vote out of it. I think that's fair. So we'll go with Sega Lightning Knight as the winner, just to make it a little quicker here. So let's do that. Definitely a bizarre round though, for sure. So there is that. So we will end that poll. Okay, so we'll eliminate that. Jumbo Jet versus the next one here, which is going to be Corkscrew at Cedar Point. Okay, this is a very interesting one. Okay, so let's get this going. You're saying Jumbo Jet? That's fair, but like, yeah, I probably would have to agree, even though I actually think Corkscrew's solid, but like, it's hard to argue. Yeah, and based on where we're at, yeah, that looks like where it's going. So, all right, Jumbo Jet. It's I haven't ridden a coaster like it, so that also makes it difficult. But also, if we're going by, I mean, I also kind of look at it as like if we're going by rides that like I haven't ridden, I guess it's more which one I'm more intrigued with if it's a more difficult pick. Okay, so next we have, and I'll end the poll here. Battlestar Galactica versus Roller Coaster at Great Yarmouth Pleasure Beach, which poor roller coaster. This is not exactly the fairest of fights. Actually, let me get rid of Corkscrew here. So let's go here. Yeah, so let's do Battlestar Galactica versus Roller Coaster. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna vote Battlestar Galactica. This is pretty darn easy, in my opinion, because the invert side is like, I mean, I think it's gonna clear pretty easily. So, and it's a very unique coaster. Not, I mean, granted, Roller Coaster at Great Yarmouth also is unique, but like, or you know, it's interesting because it is one of the few remaining scenic railways out there. But for me, this was kind of a no-brainer. So this is one of the easier ones we've had, I think, up to this point, at least for me. So let's see, as the votes are still coming in, I think I'm waiting on one more. Let's see. Although at this point, yeah, just based on the numbers alone, like we've already hit based on the viewers. So Battlestar Galactica is moving on, no question. And we will do that. Okay. So next we have Megaphobia versus Cedar Creek Mine Ride. I I mean, I'll do the vote to be nice, but like we already know where this is headed. Like we I mean this is um yeah. Out of fairness, I will do the poll, but like we already know. I did CCMR for Cedar Creek just to make it a little quicker, but this is an easy, like, we know. So, um, and yeah, all right. So Megaphobia is moving on. Pretty easy pick. There. So let's do that. Good riddance to Cedar Creek. And interesting next round, I will say. Kind of. All right. Next, we have Fun Pilot, which is a Zero Force coaster, versus Spinning Coaster at Fun Tiki, which this is a Gerstlauer spinner indoors custom. So let's get this poll up and going. Okay, so I really want to check out a POV of Spinning Coaster later. I want to see if it's actually like legit or not. As far as like if it's like a hidden gem or something. I'm definitely going Spinning Coaster here. No question for me. Someone voted Fun Pilot. That is fascinating. Okay. I'm curious the logic on that. Not saying I dislike it, but I'm just curious. Um, so, um, but yeah, no, Spinning Coaster definitely for me. I feel like is the. Oh, whoa, hold up. We got 2 votes for Fun Pilot. Okay, now I'm confused. All right. Um, so we're at 50-50, and I voted for Spinning Coaster, right? Let me just make sure I didn't like misvote. I don't think I did. So. It's Fun Pilot, I guess based on that, Fun Pilot is gonna move on because I have to take away my vote. So, dang. That is unfortunate, for the Gerstlauer spinner. It is kind of it definitely is a ride that not aware of. That is kind of wild, I will admit. But hey, that's why we do this, so, there you go. All right, that is certainly an upset. Okay, so rest in peace, Spinning Coaster. You voted Fun Pilot for the outdoor setting. Okay, all right. The station does look nice, and we'll give it that. So, um, but yeah. Okay, so next one we will do is the last of the first round. And it gets a lot shorter from here. So we got Power Splash, which is a mock Power Splash, versus Wrecking Express, which I don't think this is gonna. Maybe I'm wrong, but I personally, there's not a whole lot of questioning for me on this one, but some people don't like to get wet, so that actually might be an underrated thing here. For this one, but I'm picking Power Splash. Just because one of them is like the most is you know, it's a kiddie coaster pretty much, like nothing to it. I've never ridden a mock Power Splash, but they intrigue me at least somewhat. So, um, mock launch coaster versus kiddie coaster, which is better? Exactly. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be a no-brainer. So Power Splash is the winner of that one. I will just end the poll there. We'll go back to the board and do that. So here we are with the final 8, so already shrunk the amount quite a bit. And then we'll vote on the next one here. All right, Rail Runner versus Wild Mouse at Cedar Point is the next round. You rode the power splash at Over Texas, and while you got wet, you didn't cool off. The water was too hot. Ooh, yikes. That's not good. We'll hope that Happy Valley has their has that down. So let's see. Wild Mouse, Rail Runner. I'm probably going Rail Runner here. So I'll just say straight off the bat. Yeah. I will trust the good things I have heard about it to carry it. So got Rail Runner, and it is yeah, it's gonna win here just based on the votes of viewers here. So Rail Runner is moving on to the semifinals. A mountain coaster has made it this far, so congratulations to Rail Runner. That is pretty good. All right. So next we have the mysterious Sega Lightning Knight versus Jumbo Jet at Maury's Piers. Definitely a matchup of all time. So here we go. I will flip here. I will join the bandwagon for Sega Lightning Knight. I will just say honestly, but I think either one's fair. And I mean, I might look at a POV and be like, wow, this looks terrible. So it does have both the benefit and the disadvantage of it being such a mysterious ride. But I mean, God, look at this. I mean, you gotta at least be intrigued, right? With this thing. So, gotta at least be a little intrigued with it. And yeah, Sega Lightning Knight is gonna win here. It looks like based on votes. So, moving on to the semifinals. Yeah, this is pretty bizarre. This is kind of what I was expecting as far as weird matchups we're gonna get. Okay, this one is the heavy hitter, I think. We got Battlestar Galactica versus Megaphobia. I have a pick. I'm gonna let chat do their thing first before I give my answer. But let me get the poll pulled up here. So let's do that. Oh wait, actually it's the other way around. Okay. You haven't seen a Battlestar Galactica POV in a while, but you're gonna go with Megaphobia. Completely fair. Poll is up now. I'll wait till some other ones come in because I do have some thoughts on this. Yeah, I'm rolling with Megaphobia. I accidentally voted for Battlestar Galactica. So it's supposed to be like clean sweep for Megaphobia, so my bad there. But yes, I do agree. I would lean Megaphobia because I think it looks like a really good like CCI wooden coaster. And I think I'd prefer that even over like what looks like a pretty intriguing invert in Battlestar Galactica, especially with all the doing interactions it has. Definitely, you know, an intriguing ride, but I think Megaphobia is the is the pick I'd go with there. So that is going to win that. Probably the favorite to win this whole thing at this point. But hey, it's about the process, I think. So next we got Fun Pilot, miraculous winner of the last round in my opinion, versus Power Splash at Happy Valley Shenzhen. So will the miracle run continue for Fun Pilot, or Is this going to be Power Splash moving on? So is Power Splash going to wash out the competition? I'm rolling with Power Splash here. I think it's just objectively it looks like the better coaster. No, I mean it's a kiddie coaster versus a mock Power Splash again. So it's kind of hard to pick against it. Chad agrees. So the Power Splash is moving on to the semifinals. So that's gonna be that. And so we'll move on to the semifinals. Oh, I didn't exit out of these. Okay, so semifinals. First one we are gonna have Rail Runner versus Sega Lightning Knight. Again, one of the matchups of all time for something like this. So I will put that in. But you can vote here. I am gonna side with Rail Runner here, as intrigued as I am with Sega Lightning Knight. I mean, Rail Runner, I've heard it's good. I've seen a POV a while ago, and I thought the pacing looked crazy. So I'm gonna go with Rail Runner here. But the intrigue of Sega Lightning Knight will not be forgotten. And chat agrees. So Rail Runner is going to be the winner here. Yeah, but like another one that like if a POV exists, which it probably does, I will definitely check it out after this stream because I am like, what is this exactly? So Rail Runner is in the championship, a mountain coaster in the championship, and then we'll move on to our next semifinal round, which is going to be probably a clean sweep between Megaphobia and Power Splash, unless something happens. But I would be a little surprised, admittedly. But it's up to you to terminate. Granted, yes, I do have a vote, but I can get overruled. So, Megaphobia versus Power Splash. Let's put it up. I'm going for Megaphobia here. I mean, already mentioned it in terms of quality CCI winning coaster, but against a Mac Power Splash, which they look like fun rides, but I mean, there's a lot of people who were sad that Megaphobia went away, or the park closed, and Megaphobia is likely gone with it. So I think that is pretty easy there. Let's see. Chat agrees. Megaphobia is the winner. Clean sweep, no surprise. Which brings up us to the championship, which is going to be Rail Runner versus Megaphobia. Kind of looking at the bracket, yeah, I probably would have guessed this is the way it would have went looking at it. Although Rail Runner, I mean, it's a mountain coaster, so that is, notable, I feel like. But let's get this done now. So will Rail Runner get the win here, or will it be Megaphobia? I will get the poll up, and I will give my answer to what I think, or what I voted on. But poll is up, so vote for the champion. And looks like the votes are in most. Okay, we have. That's okay. We're at 50-50 now. I know it. Okay, there we go. We have it officially. Megaphobia is going to be the winner, and I did vote for Megaphobia. So, not too surprised though. Rail Runner did get a few votes, so that's pretty cool. I respect it. Does look like a very good mountain coaster, but yeah, I'm not surprised. Just kind of looking at the list, it seemed like Megaphobia was likely the favorite to win here, unless either Rail Runner or maybe Battlestar Galactica. I could have seen that maybe move on. Um, but Megaphobia is indeed the winner. So, um, there you have it. This is the entire thing. We'll zoom in there too. Megaphobia, give it some love there, especially since it is gone. So kind of cool that for the first one of these, we get a defunct coaster as the winner. Well, most likely to be defunct unless it gets saved. So there we have it. First ever winner of the random coaster tournament, which is, again, experimental segment. I think if I were to do this again, I might make some changes. But I think the important thing I want to ask is you as the chat. What did you think? You voted Rail Runner because it's actually operating. I mean, hey, I can't bash that. That's completely fair. So, let me know, chat, what you all thought of that segment, and then I will move on to our last segment before final Q&A here, which is gonna be the GeoGuessr, and I'll kind of explain the plan for that. I'm kind of yeah, I'll get to that in a sec, but let's check the comments first. Let's see. But that's completely fair point. If people like it, save these to go back for an... Yeah, no, it would be fun. It would be awesome. No, that is a great idea. We'll do like a... I don't know how long it would take to get through 16 of these. Maybe we'll do like the more realistically, if I keep this thing going, I'll do like the finalists and like the semi-finalists, like kind of thing. And have those all duke it out. That would be absolutely hilarious. I do love the idea of that. Yeah, so that's segment. Good idea. You voted for it because you have a mountain coaster in the top 10 and you think it sounds insane. All right, for Rail Runner. But yeah, again, and also those of you watching this afterwards, also let me know in the comments what you think of these segments, because any feedback is good to have. Just because, I mean, these are new segments. I'm trying them out. Hoping to kind of streamline them a little more if I bring them back, but I just kind of want to know if the interest is there. So that is the plan, or that is not the plan. That is gonna wrap it up for that, and then we're gonna move on to GeoGuessr, which, let's get that up here, although let me get onto the thing. So I'm gonna basically see and make sure this thing doesn't like crash on me. That's basically part of what I'm testing here. Basically my plan is I'm gonna do at least one round, and the hope is that you as a chat, it'll just be kind of helping me find the park. We're going to be all kind of working together here. You and chat can kind of help me out with trying to find where these parks are. And I think actually for tonight, that'll probably do it. Maybe around maybe 2 of that. I was thinking maybe in the future I could do like a test out the play along feature. To do it that way, as far as what is it? So theoretically you could play up against me. The only problem is, I mean, I'm streaming it, so you kind of have an advantage of knowing where I'm putting the pin. So I'm not entirely sure how that would work out, but I think this is a solid way to try to introduce this. This one is definitely the most kind of like just seeing if it works sort of thing. So I'm just getting this all ready to go. Okay, so I think I can put it up now. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So got GeoGuessr up here. I will go to the comments. Whoa, okay, that did not. Let's see. you could use the wheel for Marathon Ride to fill out the bracket. That's true, but I think it's funnier that it's like completely random. I think what I may do, because it took so long, I might have it pre-prepared beforehand. Because you'll still have the reaction of it being revealed, but like it's not gonna take up as much time. So I might do it that way for the future. That would streamline it a little bit. Um, so that's the plan. I have it on 10 minutes here, so we'll have all the time in the world to work with this. This thing is potentially kind of slowish, so that's not exactly great. I feel like, so we'll see if this works. Um, yeah, let's shrink this over to the side here. I will get started. You and chat can help me out. Try to figure out where this thing is. I'm using this map here, which is pretty massive. Oh, hey, look, it's Great Yarmouth. Okay, so I guess if we want to look around a little bit, but this is Great Yarmouth, which is kind of hilarious because we literally just got this. This is in the UK somewhere. Okay, let's increase this a little bit. I'm not gonna go for speed, so I will do it that way. I'll just like toss it in a spot here, but like I don't know if Great Yarmouth is gonna show up on the map. It's gonna be on the coast, I know that. So there we go. Okay, there it is. Let's see if we can actually find it. And again, in chat, also if you've gone to these parts or have an interest, let me know. But yeah, I think we got it right here. I feel pretty good with that spot, so I think that's gonna work. All right, we got 5K on the first one. That's really good. This one, however, okay. Yeah, this thing is kind of being goofy. I don't think this is a repeat because I think my computer's not doing the stream at the same time, and this looks like it may have a little bit of issue with it. So that's kind of why the screen's being a little goofy. So that's not ideal. So this might be one round. Yeah, because now it's got this. So that's not great. Is what it is. Let's see. As for where this is, we're in Asia. The big Ferris wheel makes me think we could be in Japan. Daiso as well. That's notable. Yeah, this is not great. Okay, the GeoGuessr may be a flop, unfortunately. That may just be how it is. Yeah. That's kind of tough, to be honest. So it's workable-ish. Yeah, we're in Japan 100%. I was pretty darn sure, but I can lock it in based on that. Maybe it would be better with play along. I don't know that it would be. I feel like if anything that might use more. So yeah, that's not great. Let's see. I have no idea. I mean, let's see. So as for where this could be, I'll just kind of plop it near Tokyo for now. Play along, I think it would allow you to compete again. Like I would be able to have like the a code, and everyone would be able to compete on it. I believe is how that works. From the research I did. So that's my understanding. It's even difficult to turn around, so that kind of sucks, to be honest. Yeah. Ugh. And now it's just doing goofy stuff. So that's not great. Maybe if I didn't share the screen, that's true, but then like I mean it's kind of like for competing it would be fine, but like then it would just kind of be me like on here and probably wouldn't make for a great stream content. But yeah, this was kind of what I was worried about. So we'll do this one round. I think I'm just gonna honestly, like, I don't know, we'll shoot here and hope. Okay, it was way over west. Okay. Yeah, at least got the country right. I think I'll be kind of quick on this because it, unfortunately, I kind of get the vibe that this is not gonna work. Um, so that's a little unfortunate. But hey, that's why we're trying it. Oh well, okay, we're at Blackpool. So yeah, and the way this is going, I'm not even gonna try that hard to pinpoint it. It's being kind of goofy. So I at least will find Blackpool and probably wrap up there. So let's increase this a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm honestly just gonna put it here and call it a day. Yeah, I lost a few points there, but it is what it is. Okay. Okay, we're back in Japan. Pretty sure. Yeah, this looks about right. But yeah, the problem is now you can see it's just being really, really goofy. Yeah, okay, so... And also, I feel like if you haven't played GeoGuessr as well, this is also not a great segment as far as that goes for those who are less familiar with it. Yeah, I'll shoot kind of east this time. Like, actually, I'll just do Osaka. That way I'm, like, not horribly far off either way. Okay, not bad. Not bad. And then we're on to the last round. Can I get over 20k at least? With this, like, broken thing. Let's see. Okay. Need a little more than that. I think this could be Italy. I think it's pretty good shot that this is Italy. Just kind of looking around at it. Yeah, that's kind of the vibes I'm getting. Can I get anything that's like confirms it? But yeah, this just looking at the signs. Oh well, there you go. We are in Italy. Yeah. So can I at least get something that, like, you know, tells me where I am? It'd be kind of cool to get the city at least. Even though this thing's slow beyond belief. Problem is, it's possible that the area is, like, mentioned around here, and I just don't know what it is. So that also could be a potential issue. Okay, there's just okay, yeah, I don't think this is gonna be. Oh, looks like we might be somewhere on the coast, maybe kind of near it. Yeah, this thing's being goofy. I think I'm just oh, okay, well, I think that says Rome or Roma, right? Yeah, okay, so I'm just gonna shoot somewhere random in Rome and call it a day because the thing is not cooperating really nicely. So I might actually kind of guess over here in this area. Just see what happens. Okay. All right. Well, we got 22k on this, so there you have it. I think that's going to wrap it up for GeoGuessr, though. That just does not look like, unfortunately, with the maybe if I have long-term future with like a different computer and different setup, this could work. Just not a for now thing, unfortunately. So that's gonna wrap that up. So yeah, we'll head into final Q&A and buy or sell. You win some, you lose some with these segments. So is what it is. Um, but yeah, any final Q&A, any buy or sells, go ahead. Also, I think just kind of in general, that would be something maybe for more viewership. We'd get more input as far as like people trying to help out. But also, if you're not as familiar with GeoGuessr, it's kind of like not really sure what you can do. So, um, yeah, that one's probably a non-repeat, unfortunately, for at least a good while. There's always signs that say Roma. Yep, exactly. And to be fair, my observation of it being kind of near the coast was accurate. So, um, for it being kind of broken, I think I did okay. Granted, some of the hints were very helpful, and like I mean, we got Blackpool, we got Great Yarmouth after getting it in the random tournament, which is kind of crazy. The two parks in Japan, I mean, I could tell pretty easily those were there, and then the signs, it was pretty clear it was in Italy. It was just kind of a matter of where. So not a bad effort, if I do say so myself. Um, so, um, but yeah, I guess there's some uh, what is it? GeoGuessr tape. I might do like a video like doing it a little bit. That might be kind of fun. That might be a more realistic way of getting something in. Um, let's see. Buy or sell Michigan Adventure picks up where it left off before Six Flags bought it. Let's look at that. I know they were expanding a decent bit prior to the Six Flags buyout. So let me just kind of get back to what that was, like the history of the park, and see exactly what they were doing. Okay, so they were purchased in 2001. So you have that. They were adding a decent bit of stuff. I was hoping the history would have a little more on like the overall rides, not just the coasters. Um, but yeah, Shivering Timbers in '98, Mad Mouse in '99. Um, Woodstock Express probably, yeah, okay. Woodstock Express was 1999. Okay, so they were adding some stuff, but I don't think so. I'm a sell. I don't really think that Michigan's Adventure. I mean, Shivering. I don't see them getting an investment on the level of Shivering Timbers. That would be pretty wild to me. Um, I kind of think they're gonna value the other parks more as far as like if they're gonna add ride investments. Like I think Worlds of Fun and Six Flags St. Louis will have potential priority over Michigan's Adventure. I think if they add like rides or just like kind of investments, it's gonna be more family oriented items. So I'm going to sell that just kind of based on that, unfortunately, there. Um, yeah. We'll play GeoGuessr tomorrow. It won't be an issue there. I have the GeoGuessr Pro, so I've played, including with Charge. I play with a few people. So shout out there. What books have I read recently? Not really any. If most of my reading is mostly like news articles and such. I haven't read a book in quite some time, unfortunately. So I honestly couldn't tell you the last one because it's been probably a few years. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that. So that is kind of unfortunate. Buy or sell, I see Project Hail Mary. I mean, if we're talking like as a generality, like at some point here in the future, um, yeah, probably. And I know people are saying to watch it in theaters. I don't know that that's going to be the case. I did bring it up to my brother, and he was saying he'd heard good things about it as well. So, it's on the, I guess, radar. But I don't go to see movies that often at the theater anyways. So I'm not sure that I get around to it. So if you're staying in theaters, I would probably sell that. I don't think it's particularly likely. But in general, I definitely think I will. I know it's been a recommended watch in theaters though, so heard from a few people on that. So well, including you. So but I've heard that from a few people who've seen it. So let's see. Buy or sell. Enchanted Parks works with RMC. I'm going to sell it. I because like I'm trying to think like unless you're like thinking of Raptors, like what projects are they realistically gonna do outside of I guess Six Flags St. Louis? It's like I don't really think the other parks they have like they don't really have I think like legitimate conversion candidates. Um, so we would at that point be talking about like RMC Raptors, which I don't know that we're really gonna see that. Um, like maybe RMC 208 on some projects. Although I feel like we already some of those wooden coasters in Shane already are getting steel track. Or actually have already received RMC 208 in some cases or one case, but um, I'm going to sell that. I don't see it as far as anything beyond like 208 retrack. So, which I mean, I guess if you're saying in general and you want to count that, then like maybe more intriguing, but I would still probably say sell. Um, let's see. Buy or sell. Cedar Point adds an indoor attraction in the next 10 years. This is fascinating because I like theoretically it makes a ton of sense for them to do it. Um, it's insane that they don't have anything that is indoors, like especially like a darker themed attraction. My one kind of holdup is just the way that Snake River Expedition was handled. Uh, that makes me question because like it opened its opening year, it had like everything working, then it just kind of deteriorated, and eventually it was removed like pretty quick. So that does make me question if they would do especially like an indoor themed attraction, but I think it's such a need. I think at some point they will do it, so I will buy it. And next 10 years is a pretty large time span, and it's also actually Kings Island. They're doing a dark ride that, depending on how that goes, I would be curious if it does well. That's something that Six Flags is intrigued to add some more dark rides here and there. Not like crazy, but maybe. Um, let's see. You mostly read magazines and on screens. Yeah. Um, does the Beast does the Beast draft guide count as a book? I mean, I don't think there's a physical copy, but it is laid out like a book. Although it would be kind of mass. I don't know if you count that as a book. The Beast is a NFL draft guide. The one for this year hasn't come out, but I didn't read the whole thing because like there's no way. But I did go through a decent amount of prospects that way. So for NFL draft stuff, I'd highly recommend you can get it with an athletic subscription, which like those are pretty cheap per month. I think how I've done it is like I get it like basically for like a month or two and then just head out. So I guess I just thought about the books one. That might technically be the answer. And that was almost a year ago at this point. So probably not a good answer to be honest. Um, so um, Dane Brewer being the author of that, actually, by the way, shout out there for NFL draft analysis, although that is way off topic for this stream. But anyways, buy or sell, a random new park gets announced in 2026/27 that no one saw coming. I mean, new parks are being announced, like projects that never happen are being announced like all the time. So could something like that be announced? I would buy that. But it's hard, but like the definition, if we're saying worldwide, I would say yes, like pretty easily. because we're like seeing a lot of projects just happening. Although my only thing that gives me a little bit of pause on this as well, um, is that is that I mean I it's kind of not the best thing, but I don't think the economy is going to be looking particularly great in that time span. So that is of significant concern. That would definitely affect, a new park announcement. So, and I would especially say if we're talking like US, like something major, I would sell it at least as far as like a serious option. Um, but um, yeah, that is an interesting question. I'll buy it like as the general, and if we're saying like projects that never happen gets announced, 100% I will buy it. Like a legitimate U.S. park project though, that's like significant, I would sell that. So those would be my answers. Um, there. Um, let's see. What do I think of the Busch Gardens Williamsburg survey? So, for those of you who don't know, I think in the last week and a half, Busch Gardens Williamsburg, they released a survey with several potential like upcoming attractions they could get theoretically. The list of attractions, if I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head, they had an RMC Hyper Hybrid that would like break the height record. They had a Giga Coaster, which the rendering, which all of the renderings were AI, was a B&M style Giga Coaster. Um, I actually have a story on this, so I'll just pull it up. So make sure I'm not excluding anything. Um, there's a lot of stuff in March, so hang tight for a second as I pull up all the stuff that was included in the survey. Um, okay, here we go. Okay, so tallest RMC hybrid coaster was on the survey. Um, a Giga coaster that looked like a B&M style. A water coaster that looked like kind of like a mock water coaster. They also had a two dark rides. One that was a shooting dark ride. Another one that was like kind of labeled as like a Bavarian adventure dark ride. So they had those listed. An Italian boat slash log ride that looked like it would be the successor to oh man, the Pompeii ride. I don't remember the name off the top of my head exactly, but you know the one. It would use that building. Um, and then they also had an Italy Gardens area with three flat rides as well. So those were the options. Um, I know that the Italy area has been like just absolutely kind of decimated in like the last few years. So I know a lot of people were saying that is like if we're going on what should be priority, that should be next. And I mean, based, mostly home park people, I've never been to the park. I will probably side with that as being like probably the next sensible thing, even if the other ones are, more exciting. Um, but I think most of those, just from outside looking in, those seem like sensible options as far as like new attractions they could get. The water coaster is kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really get that one. All the other ones, like I feel like they'd be good additions. So, and definitely exciting. Like all these projects are like outside of the water coaster. That one I was kind of like, I don't know about that. But all the other ones, like they seem pretty sensible and they seem like they'd be pretty exciting in different ways and would benefit the park. So, of course, if I were to pick what I would want to see personally, like just aside from what the park needs and potentially even like just like kind of dream of all these ones. Um, as for like me personally, I'd love to see, of course, that RMC Hyper Hybrid. I think that would be the thing I'd love to see the most, even over the Giga Coaster, especially if they're going with B&M. You know, I B&M's got to figure out what's going on with their track. I'll just say that. Hopefully they can. Um, but yeah, because of that, the RMC would be the one I'd be most excited to see. But I think if they get any of those in any type of order or something similar, as some of their next few editions. I think most of those would be really nice. So, um, decimated may have been harsh, but I think I've seen some people, the way they talk about it may be a little exaggerative, but um, I will trust that that is like, you know, so they've removed some rides from there, so that's not great. So addressing that would be nice. Um, does reading text? Oh well, I would also be able to say there are some textbooks I read for school. I'm gonna not count that. I feel like that is like required reading. The stuff I would like rather include stuff that's like I actually read on my own time. Your friend's brother is in the NFL. Have I heard of Jonathan Allen? Yes, if it's the one I'm thinking of, defensive tackle currently for the Minnesota Vikings, formerly of the Washington Commanders, believe was drafted by them. He uh um last year was a little tough, but before then, like excellent defensive tackle. So unless there's another Jonathan Allen in the NFL that I am not thinking of, pretty sure that's the description there. No, that's awesome. That's actually really cool. Um, that you have that connection. So yeah, I've heard of Jonathan Allen. Assuming again that is the um, correct one. Actually, I forget. I think he might not be on the Vikings now. I think that may have signed somewhere else this off season. Um, because I think the Vikings may have cut him. So I think he's somewhere else. So let me look him up. Yeah, he's signed for the he's on the Bengals now. I forgot about that. That just huge wave of free agency signings. Um, so yeah, I expect he'll probably have a bounce back year. Just because I know the production wasn't there for him last year, and it was like there was a lot of talk of like weird system fit and the whole bit. So um, no, that's actually pretty sick. Again, assuming I have the right guy. um, but yeah. Let's see. You know that America's Heartland failed. I think it got scaled down, but what's it called, Liberty Land? But yes, the park in South Dakota, I believe that's still happening. So, um, to a degree, I think that's still alive, but it's been a little while since I've looked at that project. That one I think is still like it's potentially happening, but I think what it has become is different than what the art showed. So that's kind of where it's at. American Heartland is dead. There's some absolutely like crazy stuff that happened behind the scenes with that project. Yeah, that one, yikes. Um, let's see. Um, you think they removed two or three rides? Yeah, Da Vinci's Cradle was a big one. I remember that, and the catapult. Okay. Ravens need defensive line help. Yeah. Kind of a weird thing as far as like the whole. I mean, you already are aware of it, and probably everyone's talked like ad nauseum as far as in the Ravens fan base and outside of it. Of obviously the Max Crosby trade like falling through, but y'all signed Trey Hendrickson, so and I guess you were supposed to have both of them sign, which is kind of crazy. Um, hopefully they can figure that out in the draft. As far as I assume potentially interior D line, you probably need some help there. And then the second edge rusher because Mike Green wasn't great last year from what I had heard. So, but he's still young, so theoretically might be able to develop there. But I could see that. And no line help. Yes, yeah, you guys do. um, yeah, I think you'll handle that at pick 14. Um, so long as the Penn State guard is there. His name I have issues pronouncing, but has gotten a lot of hype. So I think that could be your guy. Um, let's see. It is the right guy. Yeah. See, I know ball. I know ball. So there we have it. I forgot about the fact that yeah he signed to the Bengals this off season, but I had everything else right. So um, there we go. Now that is really cool. Actually, you've met most of the family, and yeah, they're moving to he's moving to the Bengals. Yep, that makes sense. Um, yep, there we go. Um, but yeah, it looks like I got through all the questions. I'll give like another minute for anything else additional to come in. Um, but I think pretty solid length on the stream. Maybe a smidge longer than I would have expected, but not gonna complain about it. Um, especially considering the GeoGuessr just flopped immediately. That was unfortunate, but um, hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed the two segments prior to that. With the random coaster tournament, again, I think the way I would do that for the future is I would already have the random coasters set up, so that way we're just going straight into the voting. Going that way. And I would still do the thing where we kind of look at each of them, but that would make it, I think, a little quicker. And then the marathon rider skip, it looks like most people saw that caught on pretty quick. So, which is good because um, if I do one where it's like a guest, I'm having a guest on, that would be a competition and there'd be some added kind of rules to that. So good to see like the basic premise was able to get across there, for sure. Um, let's see. Busch Gardens Williamsburg should replace Da Vinci's Cradle with the Zampero Nebulas. Nebulas would be sick in like in that area. I feel like that would be very fitting. Just as far as like aesthetically, that would be very fitting just from like kind of the pictures I've seen and like kind of the style of rides they had. So, um, that's a good shout. I forget what rides were on the actual concept art. I think they had like I'd have to look at it again. Um, but I don't know if the concept art is necessarily super accurate to what they're looking for because um, like it was like an AI generated thing and it seemed to be kind of quick. So which is fine. It's for a survey. Though in general, like I would say as far as the AI art stuff, like actually using it for like actual like ride art when you like release it and like logos and such, I would say I'm against that. But for surveys, I get that you got to get them out quick and it gives an idea of what the ride's gonna look like. So get it from that point, but it's kind of difficult to kind of look at the concepts and take it like that seriously as far as would the thing actually look anything like this. So because I saw some people were kind of analyzing the RMC layout, I'm like, I would not bother. I don't think it's gonna look. I don't think the layout's gonna match up if they end up getting that. So um, it was kind of funny though. Just like people kind of deep diving into it, I'm like, I think it's just you're looking at the general concept. I don't think the attractions are going to be that close to this. What they showed up in as the visuals, if they were to actually get built. Um, let's see. You like the first two, which I mean that's ultimately what I'm looking for. Again, those who are watching afterwards in the comments, let me know how you enjoyed them as well. But I appreciate that. I'm 100% buying that more of Six Flags America's rides go to other Six Flags parks. I think they have some like they have a Zamperla Giant Discovery that they can give to someone else. I'd be curious if their Sky Screamer can also be relocated. I think that would be, if that's feasible, an interesting candidate. Though not a lot of Six Flags parks currently in the chain need it at this point. There's a few. Um, I don't believe Dorney Park has one. Magic Mountain obviously doesn't, but that might be a whole weird thing with earthquake stuff. Um, Great America, I also think doesn't have one, if I'm correct. So those are like the few I can think of. Obviously, all the Legacy Cedar Fair parks that I guess don't have a win seeker at this point, which I don't know how many of them those are. Those would potentially also be in consideration, but I will buy it. I think we'll see more of them get shipped off to other Six Flags parks. I like that you specified the Six Flags parks part because that's different than if they were sold to otherwise, because it's very possible that that might be the fate they have, is that like some other places decide to buy them out. So that actually was a good way to, I guess, word that question. They didn't show a mock striker in the most recent survey, as far as I'm aware. I know that they did previously, which that's not to say they're not considering it, but I don't think it was in the most recent. But they have previously showed it. I think is what you're saying. So, that I know that they have previously. So, interesting. And then I know Busch Gardens Tampa, quietly they also release their surveys, but I don't believe anyone's been able to post like the whole thing. They had a Giga on their survey. They actually had two separate ones. They had like a B&M style one and like an Intamin, so that was also kind of interesting. Um, and I think there was a few other concepts I saw, but I don't think the full thing was found yet. So be on the lookout for that if it comes up. They should move the Discovery to Carowinds. There you go. That could be a home for it. Dorney Park did have a Star Flyer on the survey. So, exactly. Just take it over to Dorney Park. There you go. That would work. For sure. Alrighty, but I think at this point I've gone through all the questions, and that'll pretty much wrap it up. So, with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time here on Coaster Hour. Actually, we'll mention probably in the next few weeks here, and it will, barring something unforeseen, be that the concept that I've been excited about that I'm going to be bringing on a guest to do for the first time. So look forward to that. Again, just wanted to mention that real quick. So, again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time here on Coaster Hour. See you all.